Well, hello. It is so good to be with you all. Do you guys like stories? Okay, here we go. I love to laugh, so feel free to laugh because this is hilarious. So I used to drive a big Ford van. I mean, this thing is a beast. We call it Goliath. It was so big. I'm speaking in California at a camp where a lot of my friends work at the time. And I was on my way out to go home because my camp was over and I was going to go back home. And at the time I lived in LA. And my friends said, wouldn't it be cool if we all went to Disneyland on our days off and Chris, you go with us because since you have a disability, we don't have to wait in the lines. I'm like, oh, okay, I really know who my friends are, right? So we go, we're driving, there's a caravan of cars because it's a big group. There's a Ford Explorer in the front, there's a Volkswagen Bug, the new kind, in the middle, and I'm driving my big Ford van in the last spot. And we're cruising down this interstate. It's a 5-hour trip from where we were to go to the happiest place on earth. So they say. And we're in the fast lane and we're going 75 miles an hour. And we are just on a mission to go to Disneyland. We just can't wait to get there. And we're following way too close to one another. We should have been more further apart from each car. And as we're cruising down the fast lane of this freeway, all of a sudden my friend who's driving the Volkswagen Bug jerks her steering wheel a quick right and moves into the lane beside the fast lane. One lane over. And I thought, okay, that was sudden. I don't know why she did that, but as soon as she moved out of the way, I know why she moved out of the way. There's a rolling tire, and it's headed directly towards me and my van. If this was a bowling alley, this would be a strike. It's dead center going down the fast lane of this freeway. It got loose from a trailer up ahead. My friend swerves to get out of the way. It's a split-second response that I have to go through. I look to my left. I can't go left. I'm in the fast lane. There's a concrete wall here. Can't go left. That would not be good. I look to my right and me to the right lane next to the fast lane, and there's an old couple. They're clueless. Well, it's more like this. Right, short, gray hair. I'm honking. Get out of the way! And they're cruising. Clueless. So this tells me that I have to go over this rolling tire at 75 miles an hour. I had nowhere else to go. I look at my friend in the passenger seat. He looks back at me and we do the nod. We're going to have to embrace this. So I hold on to my steering wheel. He grabs onto whatever he can to brace himself because we're going to hit this thing. And sure enough, we hit this thing, go 75 miles an hour, and the tire is so big that it catapults the van in midair. And now we're off of all four wheels, and we're flying through the air with the greatest of ease. And now I realize that I have to land this thing. It has no wings. It's not a plane. So am I going to flip? Are we going to roll? Are we going to be killed? And my life flashed before my eyes. I didn't know what would happen. And so we land, by the grace of God, back on all four wheels. But then we roll the van. And that is why I am the way that I am today. I'm just kidding, that's not true. But jumping that tire, that story, besides what caused my disability, that whole story I just told you is absolutely true. That it did happen. We landed back on all four wheels. My friends put the brakes on. They veer off into the left shoulder. And they put their cars in reverse. And my friend driving the Volkswagen Bug jumps out. And she has tears running down her cheeks. And she said, as soon as I got out of the way of the rolling tire, I looked at my rearview mirror at you, Chris, your van. You had no options. You can't go right, you can't go left, because either way, you're going to get hurt or someone else was going to get hurt. You had to go over it. And when I got back in the fast lane to keep going, my eyes were in the rearview mirror, and she says this, your van was so high off the ground that I could no longer see you in the rearview mirror. And I landed back on all four wheels. And the only damage that was done to my van was a dented radiator and a dented gas tank. And my mechanic said, you don't need to fix it, it's internal, like who cares? If it runs, drive it. So I did. So why do I tell this story? For one, to get you intrigued. For two, to make you feel awful laughing at me because I did this to you. But I said that story because our lives, if you think about it, go 75 miles an hour. High school student, you are involved in so many different activities. Good activities. Your life is so hectic. There's so many things that are going on, and since if your life is going 75 miles an hour. And that rolling tire reminds me of God's truth in your life. And so many times I wonder if you are so worried about what that truth says to your soul that you want to swerve around it. You don't want to face it, so you'll do anything you can to go right of it or go left of it. But eventually in your lifetime, you're going to have to face God's love and His truth at one point. See, this morning you talked about Peter in the boat and getting out of the boat and walking on water. And I want to take you to a place in Matthew that speaks about truth. Because I want you to see, student, this Jesus that I speak about very differently. In Matthew 16, verse 13, it says, when Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples a poignant question. Who do people say the Son of Man is? Who do people say that the Son of Man is? And the answer to that question, the way you and I answer that, impacts the rest of our life forever. Caesarea Philippi. I was there last year. I have 3 pictures to show you kind of what it looks like. It's gorgeous. And that's it right there. See that cave in the back? That's where they built altars and monuments. And this last picture shows more of it. It's a slab of stone. And this place was really referred to as the Las Vegas of the day. Anything goes. If it makes you happy, that's good for you. That's your God, servant. Whatever it is. I went to Israel and I stood in that place. And it's beautiful, it's eye-catching. I see what they were up to. And then maybe reflect on this portion of Scripture we're reading through tonight. And I understand why Jesus had this conversation in that Las Vegas of a place in ancient times. I have a question he asks. Who do the people say the Son of Man is? And his disciples replied in various answers. Some say John the Baptist, others possibly that you could be Elijah. Still others Jeremiah or one of the other prophets. I think of crowds. I think of you. This week you're in a crowd of about 800 students. And when you worship Jesus Christ this week, it's beautiful to listen to you sing of his love. And yet it's so easy to worship Jesus in this place. You know why? Because the rest of the crowd is doing the same thing. High school student, it's so easy to go along with what the crowd says. And then Jesus gets to this question. What about you, he asked. Who do you say that I am? And it gets more specific. In other words, forget the crowd and look at your life. It's easy to say what the crowd says, everybody else does. But when it comes down to it, really, who do you say Jesus is? That's been the question of my life. I'm broken. I break every day of my life. I didn't sign up to be in this body. I didn't sign up to be laughed at, made fun of, teased. People think that I'm an idiot. I didn't sign up to be judged immediately by the way I'm stared at and looked at. It happened in 8th grade. I look like all of you do right now. Well, I was a little bit better looking than you all, but and someone said, ouch. The truth hurts, I'm sorry. So I mean, we're talking, I talk like you talk. I walk like you walk. I can outrun most of you. I'm not exaggerating. I was fast. And then I went to bed one night in 8th grade. And something happened overnight. And I woke up the next morning with my head lumped over. And my head was so far lumped over that my chin was touching my chest, and I couldn't lift it back up. And at first I thought I had something wrong on it. And then in time, this would go away, but I later learned that this would never go away. And my life became a living hell. And I've lived with this disease ever since. My life was changed overnight. You know why I came all the way from Phoenix to speak just this once tonight? And get back on an airplane tomorrow morning and fly back. It's because I have a passion for people who break. And student, many of you in this room break. But we have no clue of it because you like to go along with the crowd. You want your life to get engulfed in the masses because you don't want to deal with what breaks you. It's scary. And Jesus is asking in Caesarea Philippi, who do the people say that I am? What about the crowds? And they give their response. Well, what about you then? Who do you say that I am? Am I really that big? Do you believe that I'm that powerful? Do you really believe that I can take your brokenness and make you whole? Do you believe that I can use the crumbs of your existence to make something amazing out of a mosaic of the way you live your life? You no longer have to be a slave to fear, but you can be a child of God tonight. And the question is, who do you say he is? It's easy to sing about Jesus here because everybody else is doing it. Oh, my neighbor's raising their hands? Okay, yeah. Oh, kumbaya. But what happens when the lights fade? And the stage that you're acting on goes away. And you're left to your brokenness. Are you broken tonight? I am. My life didn't get better from 8th grade to my senior year of high school. I have some pictures to show you. There's a picture of me when I was younger. Bushy blonde hair. The typewriter right there in the front. You guys have no clue what that is. The next picture is a yearbook picture. 6th, 7th grade, that is. And then this next picture is a picture of me broken. My muscle and nerve disease took its toll. And I didn't see a better day from 8th grade to my senior year of high school, 5 years of agony. Not physical pain, but wondering what my place was in this world. How I fit in. People would call me a monster, a freak. By the time I was senior in high school, I was confined to a wheelchair. And in that picture, people had to dress me and bathe me and put me into bed and get me up out of bed. And I thought I was going to die. And my mom was already in the process of playing out the songs that she would play at a memorial service. This disease affects my voice, the way that I walk. It's called torsional dystonia. Basically, the twisting of my torso. And I've not met anyone with it to this day. It's that rare. I wish it was a lottery ticket, I would be rich. Can we show those last pictures? I got on a tangent here. Let's be a wheelchair Olympics. I went from a push wheelchair to a motorized one. If you have a chance, try out those motorized wheelchairs. They're a blast. That thing went 8 miles an hour. Oh, it was amazing. And then this, swimming. I'm sitting in my wheelchair one day. And God said, Chris, you've been going to church since you were a little kid. You know the answers. You gave me lip service. You know Bible verses. You went through a water. You passed those books like flying colors. But you're just going along with the crowd. And I want your life. I want your heart. I want your pain and your brokenness and the things that you wrestle through every day. And I want you to answer this question: who do you say that I am? Because who it is that you say that I am will impact the rest of your life. It's that rolling tire, Chris, headed directly for you. And it's time that you start swerving around me and get to know me. I'm not a religion. I was never intended to be a religion, ever. That you can have a relationship with the Almighty God. You didn't say that I am, Chris. And in that wheelchair student, I never thought I would ever walk again. And in that wheelchair, I said to the Lord, you know what, Lord? I'm tired of being bitter. Make me better. I'll probably stay in this wheelchair the rest of my life. And you are the Son of the living God. And I want you to use me where I break. And if it's in this wheelchair, amen. So be it. Let's roll. Because I couldn't walk, so let's roll. And Simon Peter answered, verse 16, well, you are the Messiah. You're the Son of the living God. And Jesus replied, blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for this is not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven. I don't save people. No human being saves a soul. That's not our responsibility. It's God's responsibility to speak to souls and change them. And Jesus says, blessed are you, Simon. But this is not revealed to you by man. It was all revealed to you by my Father in heaven. And maybe that's you tonight. Jesus isn't revealed to you by me or by a leader. He's revealed to you by and then moments. And tonight, he's asking you to see. See Jesus for who he truly is. And then your life will make a difference. And then, in the midst of your brokenness, you will have peace. And then, a relationship with the living God will ensue in your life and transform your soul. And then, I like the symbols of and then this week. The ampersand looks like the figure 8. A figure 8, if something's a figure 8, it's continuous, it's unbreakable. But the symbol of the ampersand has not only the figure 8 in it, but it has 2 avenues of exits and entrances. Meaning you can always enter into a relationship. The then statement are 2 brackets that look like a box. But there's a gap in the bottom of it and a gap at the top of it. Meaning that bracket is never meant to box you in. Because he calls you to a life of abundance, student. A life that's everlasting. He's continuous with you, but he always wants to challenge you and push you to greater things. Because your life is not scripted to a religion. It's free to be who it is that Jesus calls you to be. And some of you are slaves to fear tonight. You worry about what the crowd says. I get it. So I started swimming, and you saw that last picture of me in the wheelchair. I'm at a swim meet. Fully at peace with God. Never thought I would ever walk again. And I start living life, thinking I'll always be in a wheelchair. I get involved in swimming. They put a life jacket on me. I float on my back for 6 months. I had 2 assistants on either side of me to stretch my arms and my legs. And for 6 months, that was my workout. I couldn't do much else. Then after 6 months, I managed to move my arms and started to propel through the water on my back. I started doing the backstroke. Never fast, but always fun. I got too comfortable on my back. I like the backstroke because you can breathe whenever you want to breathe. And one day my teacher jumps in. I don't know why she did. And she swims up to me. Get away. You have cooties. Why is she coming up to me? Oh man, she's swim the wake. Oh no, I have to close my mouth or I'm going to swallow water with the wake she's generating. And she comes up to me and she goes, "Today's the day." Today's the day for what? Today's the day I'm going to take the life jacket off of you. I heard it. And I'm going to teach you how to swim like you could when you were little. Today's the day. Today is not that day. She goes, "Come on, Chris." I'm like, "No, I don't want you to take this life jacket off me. I'm comfortable. Give me some iced tea. This is awesome." I'm scared. But let me help you. Let me teach you in that fear. And she taught me how to swim like I could when I was younger, and I started to swim again. And then they stood me on my feet and began to rock me with my arms out like this, and I began to move, get movement, and I started to walk in the water, little steps. Walk in the water, not on the water. That's weird. In the water. And 2.5 years later, I'm walking. And my doctor tells me to throw out all my medication. And I've been drug-free ever since. But my life is still broken. I still wrestle with things that are hard for me to deal with. But I know who Jesus is in my life. I was content with being in a wheelchair and letting him use me, and I never thought I would ever walk again, and here I am. Never thought I would be a speaker. I can't speak. I don't talk like a speaker. I don't have bling bling. But I love my life. And as hard as it is, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And if I had the opportunity to go back to 8th grade and change my life in an instant, I would say no thank you. I'm just fine right here. I don't want to trade those experiences for something else. Because if I did that, that wouldn't be my life anymore. God works. But you have to stop. Exhale. Lean in. Ask. And hear. You have to have Selah moments. And then he works. Stuart, where are you tonight? Some of you have never confessed Jesus Christ in your life. Or you done it where the crowds are. It's easy there. You've not done it individually. And maybe tonight's that night. And I tell you that you are Peter. And on this rock I will build my church. And the gates of Hades will not overcome it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Peter, I'm giving you a new name. And your new name is Rock. And it's on this rock that I will build my people, my church. It's on this rock at Caesarea Philippi where everybody did their own thing to serve whatever God they thought was good for them. It's on that rock that I want to dismantle that and introduce freedom for the masses. That those who come to me individually will live lives for kingdom work, eternal peace in the Almighty God. And soon I have that. Do you? God wants to use you He wants to write a new name in your life. Hope. Peace. Joy. Gentleness. Patience. Self-control. But who do you say he is? Is he truly the Son of the living God? Is that what you believe? You know what's interesting about rocks? Is that they're heavy. You skip them. But they're indestructible unless you crush them like on purpose, like with massive weights. Peter was called a new name. He was called a rock. And in 1 Peter, Peter writes books in the New Testament. He identifies himself with a living stone. And if he's called a rock, he's a part of the living stone of Christ in his life. So up front, right here we have this basket of metal that's tall. And we have rocks below. If that is you tonight, you want to confess Jesus Christ for the first time, and stand up against the crowds, and do it because Jesus, you know Jesus wants to transform your life, and tonight you get be given a new name. No longer do you need to be a slave to your fears. My disability does not define me. God uses it to mold and shape me to be better and to have peace amidst the trials of my soul. I'm not a slave to it. I've been given a new name. And if that's you tonight, and for the first time you want to confess Christ, you've never done that before. You've always hidden among the crowds. But tonight you want to be so bold as to come forward, scoop up a rock, and put it in this basket. It's going to be loud. You ready for this? Listen. Yeah. Why is it loud? It's loud because students, Jesus wants to be loud in your lives. And if that's you tonight, you want to confess Jesus for the first time in your life and step out of the crowd and live a life of joy, peace, and purpose in Jesus. Amid your brokenness, amid your pain, come forward, grab a rock, and let us hear the thunderous sound of your proclamation. As the worship band sings, and as we worship in song, during that time, you come forward if that's you tonight, confessing Jesus for the first time, a new name, and pick up a rock and let us hear its thunder. God, thank you so much for tonight. For these students, Lord, I pray for your Holy Spirit to hover on souls tonight, no longer a slave to fear, Lord, maybe for the first time tonight, these students want to confess your name. God, I pray that you give them the boldness to come forward and do just that. God, thank you for loving us in spite of us. You are Son of the living God. You transform souls. That's who I say you are. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. If that's you, come forward.